Hello and welcome to another camera review. Today we are talking about Nikon lenses, especially the older generation of lenses. You see, a lot of people make the mistake of believing that the newer lenses are better. They may be sharper, they might have corner to corner sharpness, but are they really better? So that's what we are going to talk about. And more importantly, I want to discuss the older designs as well. So let's start with the newer designs. For example, the 105 1.4 lens. That was a new lens that was announced for some time ago, and it was a lens that a lot of people were very excited about. But when you looked at those images and you saw the way this lens rendered bokeh, you felt there was something off with it because it had a very strange bokeh. And also, when we looked at these other lenses that were coming out from Nikon, all these lenses had this special look that was very, very crisp, very clinical. Yet we noticed something very interesting, that it was losing a lot of the micro contrast and a lot of that 3D pop that the older lenses had. And I'm not talking about the lenses that were made with the AIS series. I'm talking about the D series, AFD series. And what we are seeing is these G series of lenses that are supposedly much better in terms of sharpness, selling about 3 to 4 times the price of a regular D series lens. We are looking at it and seeing that these lenses deliver a very sharp image, but it does not deliver the micro contrast that we are seeing with other lenses from the older generations. Also, a lot of that 3D pop that we have been so accustomed to seeing in the older Nikon generation lenses are not so present in the current lenses. And one of the reasons for this, and a lot of people have a difficulty understanding, is that these lenses have so many elements that are in it now that it loses some of that luster that it had. What's happening is that as the light is traveling through the lens, it's getting processed time and time again, and the more elements they have, the more it gets processed. At the end, you're getting an image that is probably very sharp, yet it lacks that 3D pop. And that's what makes an image look very interesting, is to, even if you are using an f-stop of 5.6 or f8, you can see that the image, even though everything may be in focus, that there is a separation between different objects and subjects that are within that frame. And that's what creates a 3D image. It creates a look that is pleasing to the eye. But what we are seeing is that when we are taking photographs, that the images become flatter and flatter, yet they become sharper as well. Now, I'm going to ask you one question. I think you should consider this. Let's take a lens like a 105 1.4. This lens, supposedly very sharp, but do you really actually need that sharpness in the corners? Because this is actually a portrait lens, so you probably want to throw the background out of focus and create that bokeh. So if you had corner sharpness, that is not probably what you should be aiming for. Again, you could use this lens probably for landscape photography and perhaps use it for other things like product photography, but are you going to pay that much more so that you can have, for example, half a stop of faster light? A lot of people don't realize that these lenses that may be sharper are not as well built as the older lenses. If you look at the lenses from the older generations, you will find that they were built to last a lifetime and possibly a couple of lifetimes. The modern lenses, when you look at them, they are plasticky. The internal mechanics are plasticky. So those lenses are eventually going to fail because plastic parts wear out. Also, the metal housing that the older lenses had gave them protection from many things, including the bumps and drops that you may experience through the use of your lenses. Now, the newer lenses, if you drop them or if you have a thing that you bang it too hard, then the whole thing falls apart. The mechanics inside falls apart. And this has happened to me many times. I had to send the lens back, not because I dropped the lens, it was because I put it inside the bag and it got bumped around while it was traveling. And this should not happen to a lens that is well made. And also look at the current state of economy that Japan is in. I know the wages are high and the production is shifting outside, but Sigma is still producing their lenses within Japan. And what has Nikon has done is shifted some of their production to China. And what we are seeing is a drop in quality, drop in the refined uh, mechanics that was found in the older lenses. And if you go back and look at all the lenses that are available from Nikon, the ones that really stand out that have been in the market for a long time are lenses that have been tested and proven right. And those lenses are in the market for more than 5, 10 years sometimes. And this is the reason those lenses are the ones that I tend to say that you should purchase before you go looking for the G type of lenses. And G type of lenses, although I own almost all of them, I find that those lenses are not the best lenses to have. I own them because I review them and I use them at times, but I find the older lenses delivering much better sharpness. I find that they give that more crispy look. Now, if you were to pixel peep and look at the images, you may find that the G lenses are sharper if you do side-by-side pixel count. But what I'm talking about, the sharper images, is that 3D pop, the micro contrast that I like seeing. And it's the micro contrast that defines what an image is going to look like at the very end. Also, if you look at lenses that were produced, the telephoto lenses, the 180, 200 millimeter lenses, these are great lenses that are in the arsenal of Nikon. And those are lenses that are not upgraded, they're not changed for a very good reason because they have been field tested. And these are the type of lenses people like to own for years and years and years. Yet the lower end series, when we look at the 35 millimeter or the 50 millimeter, people don't want to really talk about those lenses because the quality, when you compare it to price, there are other lenses in the market that competes better. Especially if you look at the Zeiss lenses or the Sigma lenses, they have given a lot of competition and a lot of run for the money for the Nikon. So what has happened is some of the lenses are not the favorite lenses that is in the Nikon series, and those lenses can be improved upon, especially from the build point of view. Yet there are lenses like the 20 millimeter that I really love and love using it, yet they are plasticky. I wish they were placed in a better housing and better mechanical operation was available so that we could use these lenses for decades and decades. And this is what I talk about when I say buy a lens that is being time tested and lens that you can trust so that when you go out in the field, that lens doesn't break down. I've had a lens that was in my bag and I used it extensively. One day I come out, it's stuck at 17 millimeter. I'm talking about the 12 to 24 millimeter lens or the 14 to 24 millimeter lens. Those are lenses that have many operational parts in it and they tend to have problems. And this is the reason why I say to you, if you're going to use a lens, make sure it is time tested and it is well made. Now, the images that you're going to get out of the 14 to 24 lens is going to be incredible because it is well designed. It is designed for wide angle and it's one of the best lenses Nikon produces. Yet again, I go back to this. If you're going to buy a lens, you would probably want to have a lens that will last for decades and decades. And if you are going to use this lens out in the field, you have to ensure that this lens is well protected because it's not designed to handle difficult circumstances where you might have it in your bag and it gets bumped around. You might have it in your hand and you might accidentally drop it on the ground and you may want to pick it up and use it again. These are things that can happen and things that we cannot really control because so many things are happening at the same time. Again, one of the other things that I want to mention is the focus. You see, they're making the focus mechanisms faster and faster. So what's happening is that the range of throw is getting less and less. So what's happening is the lens is able to focus faster because it's of a shorter range. Yet from a filming perspective, it's a problem. From a focus point of view, manual focus point of view, that makes it even harder to get that fast, accurate focus that you may be used to using the lens on a manual basis. Now, this is the reason I sometimes recommend that if you like using manual lenses, to go with the Zeiss, which doesn't have autofocus, or to go with lenses that have a very good turn in terms of the focus style. Those are lenses that are going to make the difference. But if you handle a Nikon lens, you feel that it's not this beautiful, smooth, dampened turn. It's more like, oh, well, turns really fast because there's no resistance. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. If you're going to buy the lens, make sure you want to have it for the purposes that you're going to use. Now, a lot of people have shied away from not using Nikon lenses because a lot of the camera companies that are producing cameras are not having Nikon lenses so adaptable to their camera system, especially in the autofocus area and other things. So what is happening is less and less people are buying Nikon lenses, and some of the people that have been producing, third-party lenses are shifting out of that market and producing, for example, Canon mounts, or they're producing MFT mounts. And these are things that we are seeing as the years progress. And what we may be seeing is a time when Nikon sales will be declining. We may be seeing a time when Nikon is not as competitive. Now, we know that D850 has been announced, and it is a good camera. And from the rumors that we've been hearing, that it's going to have some important features. But if you look at it, if it's only a revamped version of the D810, only with offering more high megapixels, maybe a couple of more frames of faster shooting, that's not going to cut the market. Because what is happening is that people are demanding 4K quality video. They've been demanding things of adaptability with other lenses from the market. This is the reason why Panasonic has made a big change in the market, because it can take just about any lens from about any manufacturer and be used on a, for example, GH5. Similarly, Sony A9 is one of those kind of cameras that has come out and is changing the way the market is structured, because it can adapt Canon lenses, it can adapt Nikon lenses, it can adapt many other lenses that you can use on day-to-day basis. Not to mention the fact that Sony also has partnership with Zeiss, that they produce some lenses that are very, very good optically. So getting back to Nikon, look for lenses that have lesser elements, look for lenses that have proven track record, look for lenses that you don't need that ultra fast 1.4. Perhaps you can do very well with the f1.8 or a f2. One of my favorite lenses is a Zeiss 35mm f2. I do not need the f1.4, even though some people think that having a f1.4 will give them a better bokeh. A bokeh comes from other factors as well. And if you know how to use the lens, you can create amazing images. So I hope this has been an informative review. We'll be doing a lot more reviews on Nikon lenses, especially the older lenses. I will take them each one and show you what the images are good for and how I use them. Also, we will discuss the image quality and what makes those lenses special in comparison to other lenses in the market. And I thank you for watching. Please do remember to visit our website at camerareview.ca. There I have in-depth articles about a lot of these lenses and about things that are coming up in the market for the cameras and lenses. And I'll see you soon.